guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. My name is Anna Marie. And today's video is going to be a new monthly series here on my channel. It's in the hopes that I can, one, find the motivation to edit my videos, and two, so I can unhaul some books and make room for new ones. As you can see from the title of this video, I'm calling this series Spin It or Bin It. This series will feature a very special part of my TBR, the books I've received from my A Box of Stories subscription. Some books will stay on my shelf, while others, it's time to say goodbye to them. I don't need books that I don't enjoy cluttering my shelves. I'll be deciding which books deserve a permanent place on my shelves and which ones I'll be unhauling, but there's a twist. I'll be letting fate decide on what books I'll read over the course of a month by spinning a wheel. Okay, so this wheel currently has all of the books that I haven't read, but that I've received over the last 3 years, with me adding to the list as new boxes and books arrive. For those of you who don't know, A Box of Stories is a subscription box that saves amazing books from being lost forever. Every box is a curated surprise designed to introduce you to stories that deserve more love by rescuing unsold books and give them a second chance. It's such a meaningful way to reduce waste in publishing. A Box of Stories rescues books from being forgotten and pulped. Their mission is to save great stories that might not have gotten the spotlight they deserve. Every box is a surprise, making it perfect for discovering hidden gems, and honestly, who doesn't love a good surprise? I have a variety when it comes to genres, as I switch boxes every few months so that I'm introduced to more books, and to help myself expand on like genres and stuff. Before I wouldn't read crime or mystery, and now I will read them. The same with romance. I have set 5 challenge rules for Spin It or Bin It, with it being my challenge. I use the term rules loosely. Rule number 1 will be wheel decides, so I will use this spin the wheel to randomly select a book from my A Box of Stories book collection. No skipping, no respinning. If I don't like what I've picked, it's tough. I have to read it anyway. First impressions don't count. After the spin, I'll read the blurb and share my initial thoughts with you, and then I have to add it to my TBR pile. Rule number 3 is to read a set amount. So I'm going to commit to reading at least the first 50 pages or the first 3 chapters, whichever is first, before making my final decision on whether I'm going to continue to read the book, or if I know I'm not going to enjoy it. This gives the book a fair shot, in my opinion, and because a lot of the books are quite short, that's why I've gone with 50 pages. I think if it's a big tome of a book, I'll go up to 100. And rule number 4, shelve it. If the book grabs my attention and I feel like I must keep it because I'm likely to read it again, or maybe my sister might want to read it, I will find a space for it on my shelves. For rule number 5, bin it. If the book fails to capture my attention, it's destined for the unhaul pile. But since A Box of Stories are rescued, scrapping doesn't mean donating them and passing them on to someone else. It doesn't mean I throw them in the bin. Now the rules are out of the way, let's jump in. Which rescued story will fate pick for me today? Let's spin the wheel and find out. Here's the wheel filled with all the books from my Box of Stories stash. Let's give it a spin. Here we go. and we have the portrait. Let's go and grab that one off the shelf. So we are tackling the A Box of Stories books, because this bookcase alone is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shelves. 4 of them are only small, and this one and this one are quite deep and wide. And these are all my, well, these are some of my box of stories. They are double stacked here. There's some, these are tall paperbacks and a tall hardback, and they're also double stacked here too, like this. And then I have them double stacked here on this shelf and double stacked down here on this shelf, and these are all of the books that I am tackling in this series. There is a lot. There's like, I think there's like 65 of them unread from my box of stories, and that's just 3 years worth of getting this subscription box. That took a while to find because this book came in my very first box from A Box of Stories, so it was like right at the back. This is The Portrait by Ilaria Bernardini, and this is one of the books that I'm unsure about, so I'm not really sure how I'm gonna enjoy this, but we're gonna give it a go. We have to give them a go, otherwise, you know, it's just wasting my money. So let me tell you what it's about. An internationally renowned writer, Valeria Costas, has dedicated her life to her work and to her secret lover, Martin Ackler, a prominent businessman. When his sudden stroke makes headlines, her world implodes. The idea of losing him is terrifying. Desperate to find a way to be present during her lover's final days, Valeria commissions his artist wife, Aliya, to paint her portrait, insinuating herself into Martin's family home and life. In the grand, chaotic London mansion, where the man they share, husband, father, lover, lies in a coma, Valeria and Aliya remain poised on the brink, transfixed by one another. Day after day, the two women talk to each other during the sittings, revealing truths, fragilities and strengths. But does Aliya know of the writer's long involvement with Martin, or that her husband has chosen Valeria for the years ahead? Amidst their own private turmoil, the stories of their lives are exchanged, and as the portrait takes shape, we watch these complex and extraordinary women struggle while the love of their lives departs in an unforgettable, breathless tale of deception and mystery that captivates until the very end. So this is a fiction book, the very first box I ever got. I'm not too sure about how I feel about this book. The blurb doesn't pull me in, and if I was to read 50 pages, that would be halfway through chapter 6. So I think I'm going to read the first 5 chapters, see how I feel, and then let you guys know on what I'm going to do with the book. When I get to the end of chapter 5, I'll let you guys know on what I think and whether I'm going to continue or not. And if I am continuing it, I'll be reading it over the coming weeks and deciding if it'll earn a place on my shelf or not, or if I'll pass it on. And even if I decide to scrap it, thanks to A Box of Stories, it won't go to waste. I'll find a new home. It'll find a new home with another reader, be it through my local library or the table at Tesco's. I've read 2 pages. I want to see where it goes. I didn't think I'd say that, but I want to see where it goes. It might not be a shelf, but I might finish it, and that's a good thing, right? Hey, so it has been 2 days since we spun the wheel and got the portrait, and last night I actually read the rest of the thing. Like the first night I read the first chapter and I knew I wanted to keep going, so I read the other chapters last night and got to chapter 6, which is 48 pages in, which means, you know, I'm at that stage now where it's, am I going to keep reading it or am I going to just straight up scrap it? And I'm going to keep reading it. I've got this feeling that Valeria is kind of like living in a daydream world, where she's just making up the fact that her and Martin are lovers. I have this feeling that it's going to turn out that she's made it all up in her head, and I want to know if I'm right. Even though this is not like a mystery book, usually when I read mysteries, I can usually figure out what the whole mystery is and who did it. It's interesting so far. She's just told us a bit about her backstory, so like she lost her sister, her mum is a bit like detached, she lied to Aliya to get her to do the portrait because originally Aliya said no. Valeria emailed her and was like, when I was little my mum had somebody come in and do a portrait while we lived in Greece, which never happened. Yes, she did live in Greece, but it never actually happened. She talked about like she lost her sister when she was young. Her dad's not really been in her life. But the weird thing is she doesn't call her mum mum. The only time she mentions her as mum is when she's calling. So like her mum calls and Valeria looks at the phone and sees that mum is on the screen. Like for the rest of the time she's calling her mum Theodora, which is her name. But where I'm up to, and she's hired she hired this young girl to be like her personal assistant kind of thing. She believes that maybe Pamela, that's the personal assistant, was working in Valeria's favourite restaurant to try and get a bit close to her, so that a few weeks later when she submits her CV, which is the perfect CV, Valeria will hire her because she knows her and they get along. And I'm like, are you a bit delulu? Do you need to go to a mental asylum or something? And she talks about like a couple of dates that her and Martin have had, and how like because she's an author and she's traveling all over the world, like he will meet up with her in certain places, or she will meet up with him because he's a businessman. He has all these different business adventures all over the world, and they meet up and they have like dinner dates, and they get on the plane together on the way there, and then when they're at the airport they both get in different cars and they both go to the same hotel, but they get like different, like they share a room or they have different rooms, and then when they leave in the hotel to go to like a restaurant they'll both get in different cars and they'll both go to a restaurant and stuff. I'm like, did it really happen or is this all in your head? Where I'm up to at the minute, she is just starting to pack to leave to London to go and get her portrait painted by Aliya, because Aliya has finally said yes, due to Valeria giving her this great big sob story about all her childhood and stuff. Although the chapters are short, which makes it an easy read, they're like this, so they'll have a bunch of text and then a page break and more text and more page breaks, so it kind of like, it goes from Valeria talking about what's currently happening to Valeria talking about dates with Martin, to Valeria back in present day, to Valeria talking about a book that she'd previously written, to Valeria's present day, to Valeria talking about her first marriage. I'm going to go and do all the chores I need to do this morning, and then I'm going to go and chill on the sofa because it's quiet and nobody else is awake yet. Well, my mum's gone out, but everybody else is in bed, and I'm going to read some more of this. I will update you all later when I get a bit further in. I'm hoping to get to at least chapter 12, which is page 102. I'm going like, trying for like at least 50 pages a day because I have other things to do this week. This week is like a really busy week for me. But yeah, I should hopefully have gotten a bunch of the way through. I'm going to see if I can get the Kindle version. See, this is another reason why I have a feeling that she's making it all up in her head. Here, it says she's talking about how she's got a driver in every, she has a driver organised for her in every city she's visited, and she's always felt ashamed of it. She gets invited to panels to give talks about independence, freedom, emancipation, and then it says she was a liar, a bluff. And with this being a fiction book, any of it could be made up. Things like that give me the feeling that she's made it all up. I guess we're gonna have to finish the book to find out, because none of the reviews let me know. As much as this woman hates living in Greece, she's just recommended that her driver, who is from Rhodes in Greece, which is where she grew up, she just recommended that he goes and take a vacation there now that she's away. Some people, I will catch up with you either later on tonight or tomorrow morning, depends on how tired I am after my martial arts class, or how much time I've got before my martial arts class, should I say. I'm here with a little update. I got to page 106, which is chapter 12, which is what I was talking about this morning. I'm enjoying it so far. Valeria has just met Aliya, and they've kind of started on the portrait. I say started. Aliya's complaining that it doesn't look right, so she might have to start all over again tomorrow when Valeria goes back there. The whole, what I was talking about earlier, where it's like a paragraph about the present tense and a paragraph about the past tense, it's really starting to get on my nerves now. Because in some of the paragraphs she's talking about like things that have happened in stories that she's written, and in other paragraphs in the other past paragraphs she's talking about things that happened to her while she's been with Martin, and like when they've been taking a break from each other when Aliya got pregnant both times. Yeah, I'm still curious as to know whether this whole Valeria and Martin being lovers thing is real or not. I did make a note on something. What was it? So we're in chapter 12, and we still don't know if she's Martin's lover. There's something about Valeria just feels off. She spent £34,500 on an unfinished painting that Aliya did of Martin before he ended up in a coma from his stroke. But why would a guy's lover buy an unfinished painting of him that was done by his wife? That confused me. You know, like, according to Valeria, the two of them get to see each other all the time. So why would she want an unfinished painting of the guy that she sees all the time? With only being like 12 chapters in, I thought that said 20 then. With only being 12 chapters in, I couldn't say this is like a 5-star read or a 1-star read. So right now I'm leaning in the middle with 3 stars. Just because nothing really significant has happened. I always go in with 3 stars, and if something good happens I give it a star, if something bad happens I take a star away. I don't do take a half a star away or add a half star depending on what happens. That's not me. I do full stars. But yeah, that's where we're at the minute. My hair is a mess. I've just got out of the shower. I'm gonna go dry my hair and prepare shepherd's pie for tea, and then I'm going to come back up and finish doing some more of this Pomodoro, I think it is. Finish doing some of that read a bit more of this. Okay, so I've been back from my martial arts class for like an hour now. I've had my tea before I went to karate, and while I was waiting for it to start, and for about 5 minutes I was reading it on my phone because I managed to get the Kindle version for a little, I think it was like £3. I've read 2 more chapters, so I'm on chapter 14 now, I think. No, I'm on chapter, just about to start chapter 15. And at one point in the book, Valeria like thought to herself, like something had happened. Like Valeria had gone to Ila's house to continue the painting, but something had happened during the night with Martin, and Aliya said something, and Valeria said to herself, why can Aliya be near him and I can't? And all I could think was, because she's his wife and you're possibly his lover, maybe his stalker. Where I left it off on my way home, like I was reading it a little bit on my way home, but where I left off, she's just gone for dinner with Martin and Ila's daughter, Antonia. So I read a couple more chapters of the portrait last night. I'm on chapter 18 now. I have Pomodoro finger open because it seemed to work and keep me focused yesterday. I'm gonna have that going, and I'm gonna read more of this. Yes, I am enjoying it, but between those chapters I spoke about in the last clip and these ones, Valeria and Ilaria and Martin's daughter, Antonia, like they were talking after they had lunch together, and I have this feeling that if Valeria is really Martin's lover, that maybe Antonia knows about it. I just have this feeling that she knows about it. It was just something like she was asking Valeria questions, and yeah, the questions sort of seemed like she knew that her dad and Valeria were sneaking around together. Hey guys, so I have read more of the portrait. I've been doing 25 minutes reading, 25 minutes editing. It's 8:15 in the evening. As you can see, it's dark out, and I forgot to plug in my ring light, so this video might be dark, but this is just a quick catch up because, you know, some stuff has happened but not really like a mega deal. So basically Aliya and Valeria have, you know, been meeting every day to do the portrait, and on one day Valeria met up with Antonia in a bookshop. Antonia is Martin and Ila's daughter. She met up with her like in a bookshop because Antonia was skiving from school. She was skipping school, and they went for lunch together. And then at the end of that meeting, well, not meeting, but at the end of like lunch, when Antonia was leaving, she said something to Valeria that made it feel like Antonia knew that Valeria and Martin were lovers. So I'm now at the point where I have no idea what is going on, because I did think that Valeria was making it all up and she was kind of like a stalker. Then Antonia went and like asked all these questions and stuff, and maybe suggested that she knew that Valeria was Martin's lover. So then it's like, so she's not the stalker, she is the lover. And then the next day, Pamela, Valeria's assistant, turned up. She come to visit for the day to do a bit of like work, with Valeria, and she went to Valeria and Pamela went to Isla and Martin's house so that Isla could do some more of the painting. And Antonia turned up when she's supposed to be at school, and she's raging at her mum. While they're arguing, Pamela makes a phone call. Valeria and Isla and Antonia are, I think they're in the kitchen arguing, and Valeria decides that she's going to go upstairs and see Martin. And while she's upstairs, she's kissing his hand, she's kissing his eyes, she's kissing his cheeks. She lies on top of him. Man is on all these machines, you know, to help keeping him breathe because he's in a paralysis coma. And she's lying on top of the dude. And that then is making me think, maybe Antonia doesn't know anything about Valeria. Maybe like she was just hinting at the fact that she knew her mum had had an affair, because that's what the two of them are arguing about in the kitchen. And when when Valeria is lying on top of Martin, I'm like, this is giving me stalker vibes again. So what is it? Is she a stalker? Is she his lover? Does Antonia know that they're lovers? If she is his lover, I have no idea. And then after that, Valeria and Pamela leave and go back to Valeria's rented apartment, and they're doing work and stuff, and it's almost time for Pamela to leave and get the Eurostar back to Paris when Isla phones up and she's like, can you come over now? And Valeria's like, yeah, I'll be right there. And she drops everything and she goes, and she gets to Isla and Martin's house, and she's thinking Martin's died, and she doesn't want to tell her over the phone, and she wants to tell her in person. So, but when she gets to the house, she's like, the argument with Antonia went worse. It got really bad. Antonia has fled the house after arguing over the fact that her mum had an affair, and Isla is telling Valeria that Martin knew about this affair, and he kind of like approved of it, kind of thing. It was like he gave his permission for her to have this affair, but she doesn't know where Antonia is. Will Pamela and Valeria help her find Antonia? So they go off to find Antonia in Isla's car, and Isla tells the two women, like Valeria and Pamela, that she knows that Martin has had an affair. Then they pull up at a petrol station. Isla's like, I need to put petrol in the car. I'm just going to go in and grab a coffee. Do you want anything? As Isla is going into the store, she locks the car door. Valeria, who has this fear of claustrophobia, he starts to freak out and ends up sitting in the back seat hugging Pamela. And she's thinking to herself, does Isla know that I'm the one that Martin's been having the affair with? I can't get it. One minute I think they're lovers, and one minute I think she's a stalker, and then back to lovers, then back to stalker. And I'm like, I really, really need to know what happens now. I really need to finish it. I finished editing for the night, but I'm going to watch some Law & Order SVU and finish reading some more of, read some more of this. Got about 80 pages to go. Tomorrow I'm going to do the Pomodoro thing again and do 25 minutes reading, 25 minutes editing. So yeah, I'm going to do that. I've updated all of my YouTube thingy, so like the banner is new, the little subscribe button in the bottom corner, that's new. I will probably update you in the morning with what I read from now onwards. It's been a few days since I last updated you on the portrait, but I'm happy to say that I have finished. I finished like 5 minutes ago. I've had enough time to think about it a little bit. I give it 3 stars. I enjoyed it enough to keep reading, so that was a plus. But I also got a bit bored halfway through, and it took me like 5 or 6 days to get back to it. After getting like, I think I was like 58% of the way through, and and then I was like, I just need to know already. But yeah, so I think the last time I updated you guys, it was like Valeria and Isla and Antonia were all becoming like friends, which was really weird. And I said that I wasn't sure whether Valeria was Martin's stalker or Valeria was Martin's lover. I thought, like, if she's his stalker, then she's getting the portrait done so she can be near him and do creepy things like go and lie on top of him, even though he's wearing like breathing apparatus so that he can like stay alive, kind of thing. Or whether, you know, they were actually lovers and she was at the house getting her portrait done so that she could just be close to him because he was dying. And I wasn't sure, like, I think I'd come around to the idea that, yeah, I think they are lovers, because I think Antonia knows that they were lovers, which turns out I was right. So it turns out that Valeria and Martin's relationship wasn't as secret as Valeria thought it was. It turns out Antonia and Isla actually knew about the relationship. So did Luke, who was Martin's best friend. Luke turned up one day to Isla's house to check in on the friend, and Isla had asked Valeria to stay for dinner, and Luke had stayed for dinner, or he'd come round for dinner or something. And while they were there, like, Valeria was off making coffee in the kitchen, and Martin came up and told Valeria to leave. So Valeria left and went to see her mum in Greece and found out that her mum was actually dying as well. So she decided that she was going to stay in Greece with her mum. But Isla and Antonia kept calling her up, asking her, you know, come back, we need you. And I'm thinking, dude, if you guys know that that Valeria is your dad's lover, why do you want her back so much? I know you guys have kind of become friends after the time spent together on the portrait and that, but come on now, man. I wouldn't want my partner's lover to keep coming to my house all the time and befriending my kids. Valeria's mother in the end made her go back to London so that she could be with Martin and his family, and eventually, like, Martin died. After he died, she went back to her mum, and eventually her mum died too. It was alright. It was just, I found the relationships in it weird. It's like, would that really happen in real life? Would a woman be able to accept her husband's lover into their house? So yeah, 3 stars. This book is going to go to the unhaul pile. So now it is time to spin the wheel and see what the next book will be. Okay, and the winner is The City of Lost Fortunes. This is one of the books from one of the first boxes again. I think this is from my second box. But let me go find it and we will discuss what it's about. So I have the next book, The City of Lost Fortunes by Bryan. This was in my second box that I ever got from A Box of Stories, which was a fantasy and sci-fi box. I wanted to read this when I first got the box, but there was also another book in there that I really wanted to read because it sounded like the game World of Warcraft. It was called An Orc on the Wild Side, and I read that, but then when I came to read this one, I decided I didn't want to read it anymore. I wanted to read something else that wasn't fantasy, and then I've never circled back to it. So it's quite a thick book, and like I said, it's a fantasy, but it's also the start of a series called a Crescent City series. Post-Katrina, New Orleans is a place haunted by its history and by the hurricane's destruction. Street magician Jude Dubuisson is likewise burdened by his past and by the storm, because he has a secret, the magical ability to find lost things, a gift passed down to him by the father he has never known. Jude has been lying low since the storm, which caused so many things to be lost that it played havoc with his magic. But his retirement ends abruptly when the fortune god of New Orleans is murdered, and Jude is drawn back into the world he tried so desperately to leave. A world full of magic, monsters and miracles. A world where he must find out who is responsible for the fortune god's death, uncover the plot that threatens the city's soul, and discover what his talent has always been, trying to show him what it means to be his father's son. So it sounds interesting. I like the idea of someone being able to find lost things, because, you know, it'd come in handy in an everyday life. I will catch you up in a few days when I start on this. This wheel picked the City of Lost Fortunes. I keep calling it the City of Lost Things because the guy in the book finds lost things. It's kind of weird. I've only read the first chapter, so which is 23 pages. I read the first chapter and it's a bit info dumpy at the start, which I guess could be a good thing if you like that sort of thing. It doesn't bother me all of the time, but it does sometimes. So we've met Jude, his ex-girlfriend Regal, who has been sent by a character called Morning to pass on a letter to Jude. He hasn't seen his ex in 6 years. So basically, like, we've had the Hurricane Katrina has like decimated New Orleans, which is where the book is set and where he is. So that was in like 2005, and it's now 6 years later, so 2011. He's managed to like hide away from it, and he's like told you information about like how before Katrina and before like the world was split open, how they put it, he had like kind of had like a handle on his magic, and then after the hurricane it like split open and now his magic came out. And at first he started to try and cope with it by getting drunk and having wild parties and stuff to try and dull the magic, but now he expels his magic a couple of times a week, so every couple of days, by like setting up a table in the middle of the quarter of New Orleans and telling people where their lost things are. Most of the time people don't stop at his table to like find out what's going on, and other times they do. And he's just had a couple at his table who are like college students or something. He thinks they're college students because they're wearing Greek letters on their shirts, and he's just like managed to weasel £50 out of, or $50 out of them, giving them fortunes and stuff, like telling them where things are and that. So yeah, it's just a lot has happened in one chapter. But again, like I said, it's 23 pages long as well. All of the chapters are quite long, but they do have those little like chapter breaks like this. So like the first chapter had like 3 of those in it. So like if I needed to stop to go and get a drink or go to the toilet or go get some food or something, I have a natural place to stop. But yeah, other than that, like chapters are quite big. That, which is what I want to read today, that's just 8 chapters, and that's 128 pages. So I've got 105 pages to go for today. But it's currently 6 p.m. and I promised my sister at 10:30 we would sit and watch the Avengers movie. So yeah, I've got a lot of reading to do if I want to get that done before 10:30. I found out as well that I got this, that you can get this on Kindle Unlimited. So I'm going to return When the Moon Hatched and get this and then read it on my Kindle. We had it free on Kindle Unlimited. So I might sit and read it on this instead of the actual book. But we'll see. I'm enjoying reading it from the book right now, so I can always switch to the Kindle later on tonight. It's okay so far. I'm not like in it right now where I was with the portrait, because that one I was like hooked and I just wanted to know what happens next. But the last thing he said in the end of chapter 1 was 6 years went like the blink of an eye if you live forever. But oh, that's another thing. With this, it seems like his father was a god, the god of fortune or something. No, his dad was a god and passed on his power of finding things, and now Jude has to go and deal with the god of fortune. But there's gods in it, there's magic, apparently there's vampires in it, because the girl that he passed in a bar when he went to meet Regal, she's going to die from a vampire. So that was weird. But it being set in 2011, but the book was released in 2018, that's a weird one. So yeah, I'm gonna read more of this. Good morning, guys. So I read some more of this last night, and by some more I mean I read another 2 chapters. I'm on chapter 4 now. I was like a bit and ahhing about finishing this book, well, about reading more of this book, because like I said yesterday, like that first chapter was very info dumpy, and we met like a whole load of characters, or a load of characters were either mentioned or we met them. We met like 8 characters who had like something to do with the plot as it was going along, and Jude went to a poker game and they were playing them with tarot cards. Like, how do you know who wins if you're playing with tarot cards? And Jude felt the exact same way I did. How can you play poker with tarot cards? Yeah, so Jude did a poker game and he wasn't sure whether he won or lost because he had no idea of the rules, and he just got up and left. But he doesn't remember leaving the house and going back to his place. He remembers walking away from the table and then waking up the next morning in his apartment, and he woke up to find out that Dodge, the god of fortune, had been killed. And then he went to, well, Regal took him to visit Morning, and this is the first time we get to see Morning, and Morning has basically said, yeah, I need you to use your skill of finding lost things to find out who killed Dodge. Jude is like, yeah, no, I don't think I want to do that. And Morning was like, you know, if you say no to this, you're basically putting yourself in the suspect column and not in the ally of Dodge column. It got me interested, and it's now maybe, because it's turned out to be a murder mystery fantasy book, it's made me want to read it and find out what the heck happened to Dodge, because we all know that Jude is gonna actually go around and try and find out who killed Dodge. We all know this. I didn't need to like read the back of the book or have him told that he wasn't going to do it because he doesn't like using his magic. Okay, I've read 96 pages of this book and it's getting very weird. We started off with a guy who's, for a better word, a witch or a wizard, but they call themselves sorcerers. He's got the magic of a god in his body. And then we get introduced to Regal, who I think she's just human. I don't think she has any magic other than like little bits that she's been shown that humans can use. Then we get introduced to some gods and a vampire and an angel. And then the god of fortune is killed. And then Jude, he doesn't like his powers, he doesn't like having his powers. He hates the fact that when he touches something he can feel things that have happened to the people who have touched the item before him, so he usually wears gloves. But on the day after the god of fortune is killed, he forgets his gloves when he goes out, and he doesn't realise that he's forgotten his gloves. But because like when he's touching things, he's not getting the pull or hearing the voices of the other people who have touched that thing before him. So he's like, when he realizes he's lost his ability, he's happy about it. And then because he finds out the god has been killed, he's asked to help find who killed him, and he needs his magic, and now he doesn't have it. And I'm like, dude, make up your mind. You didn't want it a few minutes ago, and now you want it back because you need it. Like, be grateful you've got magic. Man, if I had magic and was able to like utter one word to open something, like jars of food would never get stuck. I'd be able to open them. Because I really want to know who of the 5 people who were at the card game killed the God of Fortune. Well, 4 if you don't count Jude. Because I really want to know who killed the God of Fortune. It's the only reason why I'm continuing. But I got distracted yesterday by watching YouTube videos of diamond painting. So I'm going to spend the rest of the day reading as much of this as possible and trying to keep off of YouTube. Yeah, so I'll catch you guys up later when I've read more of this. But so far, it's not keeping me very interested. The only thing I want to know is who killed the God of Fortune. But other than that, I'm not really bothered. And I'm 100 pages in-ish. Just under 100 pages in. So, I don't know whether to just chuck this now or what. I might give it another 50 pages and then see where I'm feeling. So, I am really struggling with this book. I have read this much. That's about, I think it's 130 pages. So I'm on chapter 9. I'm finding that when I'm picking it up, I'm reading a couple of paragraphs, putting it down and going and doing something else. So I'm giving it the end of today to see where I'm up to. If I haven't got a decent chunk in today, I'm just gonna DNF it. The only reason I really, really, really want to finish this book is because I want to know who killed the God of Fortune. And like I said yesterday, it's between like 5 people: Jude, Thoth, the god, Egyptian god, an angel, a vampire, and Legba, I think that's how you say it, the god of the crossroads. I have a feeling it might be the angel. I may never find out unless I Google it and see if Google can tell me who did it. I think I'm officially gonna DNF this now. I'm on chapter 12, which in the book is page 192, but in the Kindle version it's like 120. But yeah, I think I'm going to officially DNF this now. So that means we get to spin the wheel and find another book. So let's see, what do we get? Mouth to mouth. Let's go and get it. So this is what we got, mouth to mouth. This is a thriller. I think this is one I wasn't sure about when it came in a box, but you know what, I'm kind of in my thriller era right now. I've been listening to thriller audiobooks, psychological thriller audiobooks. Yeah, we have this one. It's 240 pages, which is great. Before I start reading, we need to see what it's about. Alone on the beach one morning, Jeff notices a swimmer drowning in the rough surf. He rescues and resuscitates the unconscious man, then quietly leaves when the emergency services take over. But Jeff can't let go of the events of that traumatic day, and he begins to feel compelled to learn more about the man whose life he has saved. Upon discovering that it was the renowned millionaire art dealer Francis Arsenault, Jeff begins to visit his gallery eventually applying there for a job. Although Francis doesn't seem to recognise Jeff, he soon takes him under his wing, initiating him into a world of unimaginable power and wealth. As Jeff finds himself seduced by the lifestyle, he pursues a deeper connection with Francis until morals become expandable and their relationship becomes even darker, leaving Jeff finally to wonder, should he have just let Francis die? So I'm guessing there's some shady business in the art dealing world going on. I only managed to read one chapter between whatever time it was that I started and 3:30 because my uncle came for a visit and I haven't seen him for a while. So yeah, I've read 12 pages. I'm enjoying it so far. I thought going into the chapter, so the chapter started off as some guy talking, like some guy's point of view, and he meets up with Jeff at an airport, and I'm like, hold on a minute, Jeff's the guy who's supposed to have saved this rich dude's life. Why are we hearing from somebody else's point of view? Is this the dude whose life he saved that we're hearing from? But no, at the end of the first chapter you find out that Jeff is telling this old school friend of his the story of how he saved the rich guy's life. But yeah, that's my update so far. I can't really give an opinion on the book. I am more interested in what's going to happen in this one than I was in this one. We're off to a good start with this book, whereas with that one, after the first chapter I was like, you've given us so much information, I don't really care. Whereas this one, it's not giving you that much information and you've only met 2 characters. So yeah, right, I will update you all probably tomorrow because it's going to be late by the time I finish. So I've had a very busy couple of days. Sunday my uncle dropped in for a visit, so I didn't get much reading done, and yesterday I had a counselling session, and then I did some shopping and I bought some new books. When we got back, me and my sister sat and watched a Marvel movie together, and I didn't feel very well, so I just lay on the couch and watched the movie and didn't read much. I'm 100 pages into this book, so it's a little under halfway. I'm not entirely sure if I'm like enjoying it like I do like my fantasies and like I have done other books, but it's interesting. I'm just finding it slightly weird that Jeff is telling another guy about what had happened. Jeff's a bit annoyed at the point where I'm up to, because Francis told people that, well, when Francis was drowning and Jeff was doing the chest compressions for the CPR, he broke a couple of Francis's ribs trying to save him, but Francis hasn't told people that he almost drowned. He's told people that he fractured his ribs or broke his ribs playing squash at the country club. You know, so like Francis is a bit annoyed about it. But where I'm up to right now, in Jeff telling his friend about what's happened, is Jeff has just started working in Francis's art gallery, but he's really disappointed that, one, Francis isn't telling people how he broke his ribs, and 2, he doesn't recognise Jeff. So yeah, Jeff's very annoyed about that at the minute. But I don't have anything to do today other than my sister is going to dye my hair later. She's going to bleach it first to get all the black out, and then we're going to dye it. It doesn't matter whether you bleach my hair first or not. The colours don't usually take to my hair. But we bought the brightest blue possible. I was just going to go black, but then I was torn between blue and purple when I was in the store, but my sister decided blue, so we're going blue. So that's where I'm up to so far on this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit in another book in this video, but we will find out. But yeah, that's the only update I've got so far. I'm going to spend the next couple of hours reading mouth to mouth. One thing I do have to say about this is these chapters are like really short. Like that chapter there is 2 pages, and then there's another chapter, like some chapters are like 1 page long, and then I think like the max pages I've had for a chapter is like 3 pages. But chapter 18 is like this is how long chapter 18 is. So it's really easy to get through, and I think that's why I'm enjoying it more than I was the last book, this one, which is still here just in case I decide I want to read it. But I'm thinking of just DNFing it anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna sit down and read more of this. I've put the cozy ambience video on, because if I put other videos on, or like a movie or something on, I get distracted and I don't read as much. So cozy ambience video and my book, and that's how I'm going to spend the rest of most of the day. I'll catch you up later tonight once my hair's been done and I've read some of the book, so I can give an update. But hey guys, so before I get into my wrap up of mouth to mouth, I said in yesterday's clip that my hair was going to be blue. I forgot that we picked purple dye, but this is what it looks like. I would have put my hair up, but we bleached it first because my hair was originally dyed black. So we bleached it first to try and get it to lift the black dye, and then straight away we put the purple on top of it, and it's burnt my scalp, so it hurts to like brush my hair and to put it up, so I'm having to leave it down for the day. But yeah, I went purple and not blue. When I went to the shop to buy the hair dye, I was torn between the blue and the purple, and I said to my sister, because she was dyeing my hair, pick one for me, and she picked the purple. I thought it was the blue one that she'd picked up, because I wasn't really paying attention to what she'd picked up. I was happy with either one, but yeah, we've gone with purple. On to mouth to mouth. I gave it 2 stars. It was short. The chapters were like really short. Like I said, the longest chapter was about 5 pages long, and that was towards the end of the book, but most of the time it was like 1 to 3 pages, which was nice. I figured that Francis was going to die, was going to lose his life at some point, but I thought that it was going to be Jeff killing him, because Jeff wanted Francis to recognise that Jeff had saved Francis's life. But on the day that Francis died, he told Jeff that he remembered him saving his life. And like the last paragraph of the book, it's like, because Jeff is telling his story to someone from high school that he barely knew, and like the last paragraph is, in the earliest reports of Francis's death, not what ended up running in the New York Times, but the local ones from French newspaper, Francis Arsenault died not from heart failure, it was written, but from injury sustained after a collision with another skier. I didn't see that coming. But the way that Jeff told it, Francis hit a bump in the ski, went up in the air, came down and died. But apparently he collided with another skier, and that skier could have been Jeff. We don't know. So yeah, that is the 3rd book for Spin It or Bin It, and the 3rd one that I'm going to be donating. I'm not going to keep it. I have another box coming. I think it'll be here tomorrow, but I won't add them onto the list until like for this video. It'll be for next month's video, mainly because, you know, they're not here today. But with that being said, this is now finished. Yeah, I don't know whether to do another one, because it's still like the beginning of the month. Well, it's like the 12th of the month. So I could do another one. I've got it open, so I may as well, right? The Arrival of Missives. Okay, that's good, because that is another really short one, like mouth to mouth. Okay, let me go find it. So, The Arrival of Missive. This is like 170 pages long, which is great because this means I can get a fourth book possibly off of my shelf. The Arrival of Missives by Aliya Whiteley. In the aftermath of the Great War, Shirley Fern dreams of challenging the conventions of rural England, where life is as predictable as the changing of the seasons. The scarred veteran Mr. Tiller, left disfigured by an impossible accident on the battlefield of France, brings with him a message, part prophecy, part warning. Will it prevent her mastering her own destiny? As the village prepares for the annual May Day celebrations, where a new queen will be crowned and the future will be reborn again, Shirley must choose change or renewal. It doesn't say on the back whether, it just says it's a fiction book, but I can't remember what box it came in. I don't remember whether it came in my crime mystery thriller box, a young adult box, light reads, or my fantasy sci-fi box. But we're gonna read this. Oh, chapters are pretty long. Not a good thing for me. I don't do. Oh, actually, there are no chapters. Okay, there are no chapters, but there are the little dots that, you know, mean like a break in the story, which I don't enjoy. I prefer it when there's a chapter and there's a definite end and I can put my bookmark in it and be like, that's it, I don't need to, you know, that's the end of the chapter, I can go do whatever. But no, we haven't got that. I'll start on this later tonight, so I'll give you an update tomorrow on how far I got and what I feel of it. But 170 pages long, it's not going to take me that long. Yeah, so I will update you tomorrow when I have gotten some of it read. Catch you all later. Hey guys, so I finished The Arrival of Missives. This was a really strange book. I read it in one sitting. It wasn't as long as I thought it was. I originally said this morning that it was 171 pages, but this here, I left the bookmark in so I can see, all this here is just an extra short story, which I didn't read. So I didn't enjoy this. I'm giving it 1 star. The only fantasy aspect that this book has is that Mr. Tiller, who is just like rocked up at this town from fighting in the war, has this stone, this rock in his body. It's like a part of him. Like, apparently a rock fell from the sky, it's inside his body, and he now gets visions. The only fantasy aspect to the book is that he tells Shirley about his vision in missives or letters. But basically, the main character, Shirley Fern, I think that's the name, Shirley Fern, she like has this mad crush on Mr. Tiller, and she's 16, almost 17, or she's just turned 17, one or the other. I can't remember. It said it once at the beginning of the book. Mr. Tiller is her teacher and he's like 24 years old. She has a mad crush on him. She tells him that she wants to marry him when she's gone off to university. It's not really a university, it's like a women's only institution of learning kind of thing, because this book is set like in 1919. So once she's gone off to that and got her teaching degree, she wants to come back to where they live. It doesn't exactly say where they live. It is just a place in England. She wants to come back to there and marry him and help be like his teaching assistant kind of thing, because like where they live, it's only really small, and there's like, I think she said there's 12 kids in the classroom, all different ages, and the way they're sat in the classroom is like the front person is the youngest, and it works all the way back till the eldest is in the back corner, which is where Shirley sits. Only, like, once he's agreed that he will marry her, he then turns around to her and says, you know what, this is gonna happen, like the whole world is gonna be destroyed if you don't marry Daniel, who is also a classmate who she's never got on with because he spilled ink down her dress when she was like 6. So if you marry this guy, or you get with this guy and have his kids and all this lot, it won't destroy the world. Whereas if he's just left to it and you go off to this university thing, he's going to marry this other girl, and then their kids, something like that, are going to send this rocket up into space and start a war. There is nothing really fantasy about it. If anything, yes, this is historical. In the Goodreads things where it tells you what kind of genre the book is, it says it's fantasy, sci-fi, and historical fiction. I get the historical fiction part because it's set in just after the First World War. You know, the people in the town have just come back from fighting in the First World War. There's a teeny tiny bit of science fiction in it, going up into outer space on a new planet, creating a second Earth, that being destroyed because people are stupid, and a bit of fantasy in it, the whole rock in the guy's body giving him visions. At the very end, she demands that Mr. Tiller let her touch the rock in his body. So when she does, she gets this vision, and this is where you see what is actually going to happen, like the whole second Earth is going to blow up kind of thing, or going to go to war. So yeah, another flop. I didn't do very well in this video. It took like 6 weeks for me to film this whole thing. It's now mid-March and I started filming it at the beginning of February. So yeah, 1 star. I'm going to bin it as the video suggests. I'm going to donate it to the library or to the Tesco's table. So let's recap all the books we read in this video. So first we had The Portrait by Ilaria Bernardini. This got 3 stars. I did get bored slightly in the middle, but I kept reading because I really wanted to know what happened, whether Valeria was the dude's lover or stalker. It turns out she was his lover, and the family knew all about her. I enjoyed it. I'm never going to read it again, so it's coming off of my shelf. The City of Lost Fortunes by Bryan. I was looking forward to reading this since I unboxed this book. Yeah, I just couldn't get into it. I think it was like to chapter 12. I think I read 11 chapters and I was like, I just can't do it anymore. I have to get rid of it. There was too many characters to follow what was going on. I've got it on Kindle Unlimited still, so if I do want to read it, then I might finish it. Until then, this has been DNF'd and will also be donated to the library or to the Tesco's table. And then we read Mouth to Mouth by Antonie Wilson. 2 stars. I had no idea why this is classed as a thriller or a thriller mystery or a mystery. There was no thriller to it, there was no mystery, and there was definitely no thriller mystery. But this got 2 stars, and this is also being unhauled. And then finally, The Arrival of Missives, 1 star, unhauled. I've just explained why. So we have unhauled 4 books off of my shelf, and that means we have narrowed down the books on my A Box of Stories shelf from, I think it's 65 down to 61, although I do have my new box coming tomorrow. Well, if you read any of these, let me know, and if you've read this one and you think that it's worth me finishing, also let me know. That is all from me today in this video. If you like my idea. I know I kind of stole Becca and the Books' ideas, and I do know that Steph from Steph Loves has made her own series where she reads subscription box books. She's called hers Keep It or Yeet It. There are other people who have got this sort of videos out there, but if you like this idea, let me know, and that is all from me in this video. If you want to see more from me, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you liked it, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!